It's a baking hot summer's day, and a community excavation project headed by archaeologist Kirsty Nichol is underway on Barr Beacon.
We've been invited by Walsall Council to come and undertake some excavations for them. There's been a programme of archaeological work done over a good few years now. So there was a desk-based assessment done where they collected all the map evidence and the cartographic evidence, and then that was followed up by geophysical survey, and then there was some test pitting, so just metre squares. We've had the opportunity now, thanks to the Heritage Lottery funding, to come back and open up some bigger areas and see what we can find.
It's one of the highest points in the West Midlands, and wherever you get a high point you tend to get human activity. Even if it's just farming or agricultural, at least it sort of builds up a bit of a picture of the site and what's gone on in the past.
Kirsty and her team are getting the trenches ready before volunteers and schools come on site later in the week. But it's not only the soaring temperatures that is proving tricky.
Unfortunately, the machine has broken down at the moment. This is quite common for the first day of an excavation. We're not panicking too much. It's not looking great at this end of the trench at the moment. So we're hoping that we're going to strike lucky a bit further down. We can maybe take it a little bit further down and then we'll be hitting at this end.
Pretty much, yeah, I'd say we're in that. But it's been quite a difficult morning as the ground's drying out quite quick with the heat today. We're having a bit of difficulty at the minute trying to find the geophysical plots, so we're trying to marry up the geophys with what we're seeing on the ground, so we're having a bit of difficulty with that.
We know from antiquarians that they described a bank and ditch around the top, potentially like an Iron Age hill fort. It's not visible today. Another antiquarian talks about there being a Roman camp up here. We've got a few Neolithic and Bronze Age axes, stone axes. There's a couple of Roman coin spot finds, but there's very, very little else. So it's a real enigma.
We're just trying to get people involved in the site, whether it's coming up for a guided walk or for a music event or for an archaeological dig. We just want people to know about the site and start treating it properly and respecting it as well. And hopefully we'll sort of foster a sense of local ownership for the site.
Working with Kirsty are trench supervisors Bob and Steve. Steve hasn't always been an archaeologist, but comes from a military background.
Archaeology for me has given me the sort of life back again, because I was injured in Afghanistan in 2009, and I then joined a programme called Operation Nightingale, which helps injured soldiers get out and about and try archaeology. And that's when I fell in love with archaeology. I've always been a big Time Team fan and never had the chance to do it. And then when I got injured, I was sat around for a while waiting for nothing to do, so I then decided to give archaeology a go.
The sun is getting hotter as the day goes on, but finally there is some good news.
So, still day one, machine number 2. We're back to opening the trench up. We think that we're coming down onto the other side of that potential ditch that we had earlier. So what you can see here is the light orange with lots and lots and lots of gravel and pebbles in it coming down onto this slightly darker material here. So that is what we were looking for, and I'm hoping that that's going to turn into some sort of field boundary or something potentially even more exciting than that. Is there something else coming in here? There's a bit of differential growth, isn't there? Should we take it to there?
We're just taking the level down a little bit further, looking for some what appears to be the remains of ridge and furrow, and just trying to get it down to a good level before the others come along and do some cleaning.
As day one of the dig draws to an end, Kirsty reflects on her dream find.
The perfect find would be another Saxon hoard, and actually one of our supervisors did work on the hoard, so if one appears, we've been there and we know that territory.
What does Steve's treasure thermometer say for the site's potential?
So where are we on the thermometer?
Wavering. Fair to me.
It's later in the week and the volunteers are busy. Treasures still remain hidden and it's not as easy as it looks.
Painful. It's a bit backbreaking.
Well, I grew up in Great Barr, and so I spent a lot of time on Barr Beacon as a child, so it's really great to be back here finding out a bit more about the history of the site.
The first thing I found was a piece of old slag, but they said it was important. So little bits of brick, I found little bits of brick.
I think to be connected with our past is important, and to get ownership of such a beautiful location up here on Barr Beacon, and that people can actually feel that they've got some connection to it, and I think that's great.
It's time for more school groups to come on site. The diggers involve 2 local primary schools and a 6th form academy.
Well, this is a piece of clay pipe that you've just found here. Nice bit of stem from the clay pipe. Good, that's excellent, isn't it? That's another nice piece of Victorian pottery.
Victorian
really good.
pottery?
Yes, very good.
We have walked very far to get to here so we can do the archaeological dig, and we're going to find as much stuff as we possibly can.
Our school, Blackwood School, has been involved in the Raising the Bar project in association with the council, and when we heard about the dig, the whole school was absolutely delighted to be invited.
It's really cool doing an archaeological dig. Just digging through, I was about to put in the bin where I noticed that I found a piece of pottery.
What was the best bit for you today? Who enjoyed something?
I enjoyed doing the digging bit.
You enjoyed the digging. So what were the 3 periods of time that you were looking at?
Anyone remember?
It's time to take stock on the week's findings.
They were rich.
They're mostly finding finds which would probably date back over the last sort of 100 years or so. Bits of brick and tile, pottery, glass, and one of the little boys did find a coin, which is very unusual, a coin from the probably late Second World War coin, 3p piece, which certainly surprised everybody because they weren't expecting that at all.
And Kirsty has some further finds from one of the other trenches.
This is sort of 18th, 19th century, a storage jar. So it's glazed internally, it's designed to hold a liquid. They haven't bothered glazing it on the outside, glaze is expensive. So we think that this is probably made up ground associated with the landscaping, potentially to do with the war memorial itself. So that's actually really quite nice in that we've got some nice dating material. And to go with it, we have a bit of engineering brick, a much smaller fragment. So really this is essentially black country industry, which is really rather nice given where we are.
So some nice finds, but time is up for this dig. Unfortunately, the riddle of the beacon remains unsolved. But its story has become clearer, and a great time was had by the team, volunteers and the school.